Hello, my name is David Turner and this is another episode of Lunar Poetry Shorts, and today I'm joined by Bethany Pope. Hello Bethany.
Hello.
We're outside of Old Paradise Yard, which is where Silence Found a Tongue, our open mic night, takes place. And it's about to start. We're near Waterloo Station, you might hear some trains and some traffic, but we are in central London. But you might even hear some birds, hopefully, and some squirrels. Maybe.
Squirrels cluck, kind of like chickens.
Do you know what, this is a reference back to another podcast. I've been plagued by chickens in these podcasts. They better not start clucking. Maybe we'll have a poem to drown out the clucking squirrels.
Machete. My father ran, fleet through the forest, surrounding the base near Manila. He was carrying me. I was at rest on his sweaty shoulders. We swerved past mangoes blessed with fruit that could kill me with swelling and pus. My father ran, fleet through the forest, trying to beat his bloody past into the moist path. The iconoclast of memory was carrying me. I was at rest while he remembered the man whose machete cast shards of light on exposed bone and red, wet glass. My father ran, fleet through the forest, breathing hard. The naval police came slowly, lost in contemplation of the same TV show that was carrying me. I was at rest, while he clutched the trembling murderer to his breast, trusting to calm him with prayers and tenor susurrus. My father ran, fleet through the forest, carrying me. I was at rest.
Thank you, Bethany. How are you?
I'm very well. How are you doing?
All right. Thank you for joining us. This is probably one of the nicest environments I've done a podcast in.
Yeah.
It's actually in the fresh air.
And cherry blossoms right over your left shoulder. Yeah.
Cherry blossom. Brilliant. First question, why poetry?
Why do you breathe? I have to. It's, I've been writing since I was about 12. When I was living in an orphanage, I started writing. Actually, probably before then. My mother has a poetry, quote-unquote, collection that I wrote when I was about 7.
Yep.
They're all about Jesus on the cross. I was a special child. I think for some people it's what you have to do. Like, some people have to run. Some people, feel the pleasure of the universe when they run. I feel the pleasure of the universe when I write.
Yeah. So it's a compulsion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's quite a common thing, isn't it, with a lot of writers, that that it feels like a compulsion, and it's not always necessarily a positive experience, and
it comes out of you.
But it just happens. I think a lot of people that don't write, I've had this question before, the suggestion that you must be really happy doing something that you enjoy all the time. It's not always the case, is it?
Yes. I guess it's a little like childbirth, which I've never experienced. It's something that you have to. I'd be very surprised. But it's like something that you have to push out of you, and it hurts sometimes to get it out. But then when it's there, you feel, oh yay, it's a baby.
Yeah. Now it's going to haunt me.
Yes, forever. I'll never be free of it.
So how often do you read your poetry in public?
About twice a month, I'd say. I go to, usually, I started out doing open mics, and now usually I do guest readings. And
where do you read, because you're not from London, are you?
No.
Where do you live?
I live in Swindon. It's my husband and I think of it as Pig Town, but that's because that sounds bad. But it's because of the pig iron that they used to make the railway. So it's Pig Town.
Yeah.
But
and do you get much opportunity to read in Swindon, or do you have to travel?
There's a lively poetry scene in Swindon. Okay. But I prefer to travel.
Yeah. Are there any which nights would you recommend to people that don't know about Sweden? Swindon.
Swindon.
Sorry, I'm going to Swindon in the summer.
Okay. Yeah. There's and the first Thursday of the month there's an open mic and guest poetry readings with the local community. I can't remember where it's held right now. I think
people can Google that.
No.
It's all over the internet.
Yes.
I always ask, like, you need details, but you don't need details anymore. Your phones tell you.
No, but the best one, actually, the best open mic scene I've found is in Wales. Okay. I go to Cardiff first Thursday at the Cardiff Art Centre, which is also on the first Thursday of the month, which is why I'm not very familiar with the Swindon one. But it's very enjoyable.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't been to Wales yet. I keep meaning to. It was my intention to travel and write for Lunar magazine to write reviews and travel as much as possible to different events, and maybe Cardiff should be my next.
Yeah.
As I normally ask at this point as well if my guests have had anything published, but I see you have a book in front of you.
Yes.
So we may as well talk about that book.
Oh, this is my latest. This is my fourth collection. It's Undisturbed Circles, published by Lapwing. And it's a collection of double acrostic sonic crowns and cycles. I'm obsessive and crazy and a little bit weird, and I like form. I like form so much that I make it harder on myself. So you read the acrostic down the left-hand margin and then down the right-hand margin, and it forms a circle. I was interested in that shape because sonnet cycles are circular naturally, but in a lot of cultures the circle is considered a perfect sacred form.
Yeah.
And so that appealed to me, especially since a lot of my subject has to do with myth.
Okay.
Yes, yeah.
Actually, we might come on to talking about the form a bit later on, but maybe we should have another poem.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think I'll read the one from Undisturbed Circles since we were talking about it. This is called Three-Legged Crow, and the three-legged crow is a god in a lot of East Asian cultures. Trickster. Crows have incredible intelligence. Rarely does it take more than a few hours of work to find their daily food. If you watch them out on the lawn, their sense of fun frequently overwhelms them. One finds a little red plastic jar lid, he lifts it, examines the shape before gripping the weird thing in one talon. He flies off with incredible grace, perches gently so not one feather can fall out of place. That tin roof, rain-slicked, becomes a slide for him. Over and over he sits snug in a tiny sled, launching himself off with a harsh, happy croak at this new kind of flight. When the world ends, Crow will switch off the lights and shut the last door. Crow will see us all out into the night. Hero. Some crows are natural caregivers. I understand that's hard to accept. Happen near a messy springtime nest site, nothing further from your minds than illness, mystic rhythms threading through your veins. One crow, far underdeveloped, grabs your eye. There's no indication of injury, a crow that seems a little off. Strange. His siblings and feathers will take him to wing. Just watch. See how he cries, croaking constantly, a fair imitation of an infant. That is avian mental illness. See him list a little to the left. Now, if you look, the murder will feed him like a child. When the world ends, Crow will perch on death's throne. Crow is a god. Crow is not a god. Crow is fit to judge souls. A small, impetuous god. There is truth to Crow's trickster image. No hero is hero all the way through. I expect you've all heard stories, how Crow eats meat torn from the eye sockets of the small, unsteady spring lambs. Crow has his fun. A damnably intelligent birdie. Pain-drinking monkey without thumbs. He gets bored ruminating, flying through town with his inexpressible ideas. Crow goes off exploring, nests in traffic lights, sees no danger in tormenting farmers or their irritable, imbecile dogs. It's harm, not food, that Crow is after, breaking the tightly sealed barrels of next year's seed corn. When the world ends, Crow will eat the salty eyes of the wicked and glue strong, coal-black wings onto the good.
Thank you very much. Pain-drinking monkey without thumbs.
Yeah.
I love that line. That was great.
That's actually what That's actually how naturalists refer to crows. They call them apes without thumbs.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Okay.
they're tool
For the tool,
yours.
because of the tools. Yeah. Okay.
They're actually the only species other than us that understands displacement.
Right. Okay. Crows freak me right out.
Oh,
but
I
they're
love
lovely,
them.
aren't they?
Yeah.
No, they're really nice. But
Yeah.
there's, I think, too much watching sort of 1940s black and white films.
Right.
where
Yes.
They just, because they were supposed to one of the only animals that really picked out
Yeah.
properly on black and white film, and they were terrifying.
Alfred Hitchcock actually chained them to his actress to terrify her. That wasn't the crow's fault. That was Alfred Hitchcock.
Yeah.
It's
an aside actually, do you think that writing about myths or mythical imagery, do you think that goes hand in hand with writing in classical form?
I think so. Well, the original idea of form was to convey stories, convey culture touchstones in a memorable way. So I think it's very form fits that nicely, because the whole evolution of form came from people having to memorize their poems.
Yes.
And not being able to have the luxury of paper or a Kindle. It's and one day we might all wind up back at that.
Do you
stage.
think? Yeah, because that's the point, isn't it? You do stand out as, especially on the spoken word circuit, as some. There aren't that many people that focus so heavily on writing in form.
Yeah.
Do you feel? I was going to say lonely. I didn't mean lonely. I don't mean lonely at all. You're amongst friends, obviously.
Yeah.
Are you aware of how unusual it is to be writing in that style at the moment?
I wasn't until recently. Well, this is not my first excursion into form. My previous book, Crown of Thorns, has an Emperor's Crown, which is a 45 sonnet crown.
Yeah.
And they're all acrostics, not double acrostics. I think it's just because I'm so interested in form, because there's an almost transcendent freedom in limiting yourself so extremely. It's almost a, I don't know, I don't want to say religious, but it's like yoga. The discipline of it leads to some sort of an odd paradoxical freedom that I think you miss out on if you focus solely on free verse. And I'm not saying anything against free verse at all. I enjoy it. My first verse.
It's tricky sometimes to have this conversation without it sounding like you hate one or the other, because it's just ridiculous to take that standpoint. But
you need all of it.
Yeah.
It's the thing is, it's the same with people who read only one genre of literature. How can you live with only one flavor in your mouth? You need everything.
Yeah.
Do
you find how do you go about critiquing your work? Do you have people you can share with? Because you write in not only do you write in form, you write in quite an extreme form. No? I mean, you're quite it's quite intense the way you try. Do you find it easy to share that work in the development stages?
I don't workshop.
No.
I used to. I kind of have a thing against, not against all workshops. I think a little bit of workshopping is good for everybody, especially when you're learning how to do it. But I think that too much of it, and everybody's poems start to sound the same, it's inevitable.
Yes,
So I don't workshop. There are one or two people that I share my poems with while I'm writing them. My husband is trained as an editor, and he is merciless.
Yeah.
Absolutely merciless. It's really wonderful. So he's the primary one, but there are a couple of others.
And how would you like to see your writing progress? Do you have anything in mind, or?
I don't. I want to see it get better.
Yeah.
That's primarily the goal for everybody. I think who writes. You're always dissatisfied. You're satisfied for about 30 seconds after you've done something new, and then you're
on to the next inevitable failure.
The next thing. And you try to make it better. You try to top yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know. Lately, I've been playing around with acrostic sestina cycles. I just recently won a prize for one of my my acrostic sestinas. It's the Bristol Poetry Prize. Hold on.
Maybe we should have another poem.
Yeah, okay. This poem came out today on the Open Mouse. No exit. Little girl, what are you looking for in the dusty corners of this barn? Something clean, something new. An unlocked door leading away from him, his blood-edged shovel and sour sperm dripping from the hind parts of a cow. Run, little girl. What are you looking for in the black of this closet? Your scabbed scalp shorn, your clothes all torn. Something clean, something new. An unlocked door leading to a cool green place where milk pours sweet from the teat and I can lie untouched in the sun. Little girl, what are you looking for in this institutional bathroom where your roommates hold you down and make your insides burn? Something clean, something new. An unlocked door to lead me from this now that is a tour of hell eternal, this place where the world never turns. Little girl, what are you looking for? Something clean, something new, an unlocked door.
Thank you very much. Just a quick one. What is Open Mouse?
Oh, it's a website, poetry website, openmouse.com.
Okay. And you can just, is it like, you can just, you go on and post your community page, is it?
It's a poetry journal. It's just online.
Okay.
Yeah, it's it's.
Oh, you've had something published.
Yes.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. There
sorry.
we go.
Yes.
No, I've had something published on the Open Mouse today. A couple of poems.
Okay. And last couple of questions. What have been your main influences as over your? Get this question right. Over your development as a writer and performer.
I think my my main influence, actually, the first poems that they're playing on there. That's actually really neat. It's like a steel drum set.
Yeah, we've got some music behind us, but
yes,
it's a bit distracting
sorry.
for both of us.
Yeah, you can cut that out, I guess. No, I think my primary influence early. My father used to read me the Odyssey when I was very little, too young for it.
Okay.
2 or 3 years old. So that's where the classical love of the classical literature comes in.
Yeah.
Dylan Thomas was also very early. I'd say 11 or 12. Then, of course, I fell in love with T.S. Eliot, like everybody does at university, and Yeats, and Seamus Heaney. Oh my gosh, Seamus Heaney could write form. He wrote sestinas that you didn't know were sestinas.
Yeah.
You had to really look for it. It was so natural.
Yeah.
David Morley, George Surtees. Yeah.
And if are there any things that you would recommend to our listeners to check out to see? It doesn't have to be poetry based. It can be.
Right now, actually, really interesting. An author called Pascal Petit has a wonderful book out. Yeah,
Pascal's wonderful.
Yeah,
really
she is. She's astonishing.
I really love her new book.
It's so good. Well, especially the one about eating the. Oh.
Yeah. What's it called?
I can't remember the name of it. Yeah, the birds that you eat, and her father. Yeah, the songbirds. It just went out of my brain. I remembered it until you said you couldn't remember it.
Yeah. I was looking to people across the garden to answer the question for us. But anyway, check it out.
And yes, check it out. And also Bobby Parker. He's up and coming. He's very, very good.
Yeah.
And Helen Ivory. Helen Ivory's last book. Waiting for Bluebeard is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's just astonishingly raw and good, and also like a fairy tale gone horribly
Yeah.
wrong.
And just before we wrap up, do you have any blogs or web pages?
Yes, I do. I'd like to. My website is www.bethanywpope.com. And I also edit with Mab Jones, Black Sheep Journal.
Okay.
Yeah, and if you Google Black Sheep Journal poetry, you'll hit it.
We'll have the links underneath the video.
Yes.
To
awesome.
The title of the book and probably all your collections. Actually, we'll have.
Oh, cool.
We'll put all those in there.
And there's one more book recommendation for it's a novel. It's Carly Holmes' The Scrapbook.
Okay.
And it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It's about witches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Bethany.
Of
Thank you
course,
very
thank
much.
you.
Yeah, that was Lunar Poetry Shorts.